Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akshay Chupadi. I'm a chartered accountant based out of Bangalore, and today I am going to take a topic on AI in auditing and taxation. Let's just get into it. Yeah. I'm going to be taking you through the next 2 hours on various concepts inside auditing and taxation. See, now we need to understand a couple of things when we talk about AI in auditing and taxation because it is not like we are already not using a lot of technology in our audits because we are. So, this session or this topic you have come for AI CA level 1 is to provide a comprehensive overview of how AI can be used in auditing and tax practices, right? You will be able to explore the foundational concepts, some practical applications, what all emerging technologies are there, and what everybody is using in the CA field. So quickly, we will take you through the introduction and the core concepts for about 20 minutes, and then we will jump into some of the things that you can use in auditing and taxation. Mind you, this is a level 1 course, so we will be taking you through the absolute basics and some of the things that you will be expected to know once you come out of level 1. A lot of use cases will be you can build upon, and you can also present some use cases, and this will be a foundational thing for you to set up a lot of activities in your office in terms of auditing and taxation. So the next 40-45 minutes also we will be looking into the actual tools, and most importantly you will also have to know what are the risks and what are some of the things to keep in mind when you're using a lot of these tools, because now we are dealing with a lot of data, and the atmosphere where AI is being used has to be kept in mind because there are a lot of pros as well as cons for the things that we are going to use. So let's just get into it. So I'd like to start my session by always saying that AI will not replace CAs, but CAs using AI, like myself and yourself and a lot of others in the field, will replace those who don't. Now, we have to be on the other side where CAs are using AI and basically get the productivity and efficiency so that we are also in line with all the expectations of the clients. Now, why should we use AI to enhance productivity and efficiency? Because there's a lot of regulatory scrutiny, as we know. There are people behind chartered accountants to ensure that they are meeting the expectations, and a lot of compliance requirements are there. So basically, now AI will not basically replace chartered accountants, but they will be like your extra arms, right? So you will also need to know how exactly and what exactly you need to use AI for. This has also become very, very, um, I would say it has come to the spotlight mainly because of a data explosion. Now, how much data was generated in the last 3 to 5 years has been more than how much data was actually generated from the beginning till like probably the last 3 to 5 years. In this period alone has exceeded that. So there is a lot of data now for models to be trained upon, for us to do a lot of analytics, and now the let's say the emphasis has been shifted from uh, from quarterly or periodical monitoring, and now it has gone to a state of continuous monitoring, which means to say that it has gone beyond also, of course, but then as of now, clients and stakeholders would like to continuously monitor data and assess where we are going wrong or what else can be done. So in that sense, AI comes in very handy, and of course now everyone has to adopt the same because it has so many benefits of using AI. So I hope in the previous sessions already what and all comes under artificial intelligence, that people have a slight bit of idea. Now only machine learning, or rather large language modules, LLMs, like your ChatGPTs and your Geminis, are not only AI. I hope we are aware of that. And there are a lot of other things which come under AI. Now, I can understand that a lot of the audience here would be from different aspects of the CA field. Some may be in practice, some may be in employment, some may be in audit, some may be in taxation. So the key thing over here would be to actually grasp what all are possible. Now, we chartered accountants already have a grip on concepts in finance and various subjects, right? Now, we are supposed to leverage what AI can do for us and then see how that would help in our deliverables and serviceabilities, right? So we'll just go through some quick core concepts here. First thing is data, right? Now, the first thing that comes to all of us chartered accountants when we talk about data is basically your client not providing data, right? Now, we will have to move from a place of looking at data as a headache to getting a lot of data, to leverage that and do a lot of analysis and use the full power of AI using data. Now, this is a very important slide because this structure has to sit in your mind when we are talking about data, because data may be in different forms, right? It may be structured data, it may be unstructured data, it may be semi-structured data. The volume of data also is different in terms of how much data is available, right? How many data set, number of entries. Um, a lot of uh, data these days, if we take a lot of let's say SAP data or any other ERP data, the daily entries or monthly entries goes into lakhs of line items, right? So now a lot of cases Excel may not be able to open these data sets as well. So that is really important. That's where a lot of new tools usage comes into picture. Velocity and veracity also of the data is important. How how rapidly the data is getting generated, right? So if today's data is getting generated tomorrow, that means the data is of the fresh data gets generated every end of the day. But if there is a refresh period of 1 day, sorry, 1 hour, then every 1 hour you get new data, right? But then if it is a real time data, which means to say as we click, that data is getting generated. Now that velocity is also important to keep in mind. Of course, the veracity is upon how accurate that particular data is and can we rely on it for a various set of things that comes into picture, right? So you will have to keep in mind this variety, velocity, and veracity of the data. This is not just theory, because once you see the data in your real life, right, it is important to keep think about that data in these four buckets of classification, because each of these things will depend on basically each of these things has to be dealt in a different way, right? So if it is structured data, it has to be dealt in a different way. Unstructured data has to be dealt in a different way. So I will just move on. You may get that what is structured data, what is unstructured data. See, it's pretty simple. If it is in a different structure, right? If it is stored in rows and columns. Normally, that we call as structured data, and these structured data is very easy for AI to understand, right? So, for example, it may be dates, phone numbers, etc., which are stored in rows and columns, right? Unstructured data is not something that is stored in rows and columns, right? For example, your invoices, right? Your photos, your videos, and maybe basically some sort of a, let's say, um, it can be anything. It can be a mixture of all these things as well, right? No, basically documents, emails, conversation transcripts, right? So this is unstructured data. It is still data, but then it is unstructured in a form that it cannot directly be used in any analysis, right? That is very important to keep in mind when we are doing things, when we're using AI in audit or tax. Semi-structured data is basically loosely organized or meta-level structure that can contain unstructured information. For example, this is a unstructured data, but there is some JSON file or XML or HTML in which there is a loose structure, but it's not completely structured. So all those will come under unstructured data. The example would be some folders, emails, sorting by folders, like example inbox and server logs, etc. So I hope there's a little bit of idea of what is structured data or what is unstructured data. This you need to know, because in the coming slides you will understand how we have to use unstructured data and how we can use structured data. Yeah. Um, just some things on how we can do analytics from data. Right, there will be descriptive analysis, there will be diagnostic analysis, predictive, prescriptive, and cognitive. Descriptive is basically your what happened, right? Now descriptive will say that, okay, this is, I'll just give you some simple examples. Like for example, if we tell that sales of last quarter in the entire, let's say a financial statement was 10 crore, right? Now that is in hindsight what happened, that is descriptive analysis, right? Diagnostic analysis is basically, now why is that value how much it is, right? What is happening, why did it happen? Now for example, the sales increased due to a festive discount. Now that is diagnostic analysis. Predictive is, on the other hand, you can foresee or foretell what particular value it's going to be, right? Based on some assumptions and value, your next quarter sales may grow at 8%, right? So there is what happened, why it happened, and then what is going to happen, right? Now, what is prescriptive and cognitive, you may ask? So prescriptive is basically what needs to be, right? What action has to be taken to uh, achieve some particular targets, right? For example, increase, this is just a simple example, increase digital ads to boost growth, right? So if you take up some digital advertisements, your growth is expected to go at 8%, right? Cognitive analysis is basically now uh, AI suggests what exactly thing can be done. For example, AI suggests that customer specific segment, I mean, a specific customer segment has to be targeted, right? Now, this may be a lot of theory, but this is what is being expected as of now, right? Now we were at descriptive analysis, we are at diagnostic analysis. People right now are going towards predictive analytics, right? Because descriptive and diagnostic are of something that has already happened, right? Now the emphasis or focus is upon, or what clients or what value can be added is in terms of how you can help, what actions are to be taken today, right, to have a better outcome in tomorrow. So that is where predictive, prescriptive, and cognitive analysis comes into picture. So if you are predicting 8% growth, right, if that is sufficient, okay, but if that is not sufficient, if let's say the target is of 10%, right? So I'm just giving you an example, but this in your field and your office may be a different things, right? Whether this can be an expense also based on the past data or whatever it is. Now, the next quarter expenses are expected to be X percentage of the sales, right? Or X, or let's say 50 lakhs. Now, what should we do to reduce that, right? Decrease some sort of expenses. In that also, what exactly decrease this particular expense, or try to take, try to do, try to change X cost driver so that this amount will be reduced. So I'm just trying to give you an example of how AI can be leveraged, and this is what clients and people are expected as of now to use AI for. Yeah. So just quickly, we'll go into the other topics as well. So types of AI in audit and tax. This is what I will also just quickly take you through. These particular concepts will be important to note. Uh, so AI is a lot of things, right? AI, there's a large preconceived notion that chat GPTs, your Claudes and your Grok and your Gemini and all other uh, AI models are only AI. But no, that is not the case. So there is machine learning, there's natural language processing, there's computer vision, and there is generative AI. All these things and other things also come under the large umbrella of AI, right? So computer vision is basically like a human. The computer also will be able to see and extract visual content from whatever it is being fed. And natural language processing is basically human language, how it understands and um, basically gives output. Machine learning is basically how it is finding patterns, right? So although this example, I mean, this photo may be all AI generated, but if you can see, it is trying to find patterns in the data. Now this must be just a visual representation of the machine learning, but patterns are being found in a large data set, right? So machine learning itself is the biggest, or I would not say biggest, but all of them are equally um, giving a lot of output, which is helping all businesses and clients, right? Generative AI also is, you would know this, basically producing text and content based on what inputs are provided. So all these four are really important to know. Just a quick thing on how generative AI works, because this you need to keep in mind if you're going to use it in your, let's say, if you're going to use it in your day-to-day work, right? Now, uh, on the outside, if somebody is just starting to use AI, or you have used AI but you don't know exactly how it works, so let me just briefly take you through that, because you'll need to understand this, since you're going to be dealing with a lot of confidential data and you're going to use that in places where you will be responsible for that output, and not, you can't say that AI, no, I used AI and this is what AI has given and AI is correct. No, humans or chartered accountants, me and you, will always be responsible for how we use the work, right? And then we are supposed to review that, and it will always be our output. So just three, four, five steps in this input. You give a lot of data or inputs, and then the AI analyzes and detect patterns, relationships. AI uses attention to understand the context within the data. um, Basically, then it generates new text and images. It refines the particular output based on inputs, or learning happens, and then, like, basically, if required, it will generate new text based on the refinement, and then basically the new content is delivered. Let's say, for example, like whatever you have requested for in the prompt, right? This is just a layman's layman's explanation of what happens and how generative AI works. But what you need to understand inside is that AI does not really understand, or it doesn't know language as we understand it. Right now, if I tell you core concepts right on the screen, Now it doesn't understand core concept, because inside the model, what is happening is core concepts are broken down into tokens, right? And then basically a lot of things happen, and then basically this is where these tokens are basically patterns and relationships are found for the input that you have provided, and then it understands that context within the data that it already has, like for example parameters, and then it based on learned patterns, right? If you ask for example what are the core concepts in AI, right? So, or let's say for example what all types of AI are available, now the answer is machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision, generative AI, right? But the way the AI gives it back to you is not in a question answer format, but it is more of a probability based, right? So if these things are asked, then it fits into this particular context, and this is a most probable best answer for this particular question. That is how this creation and refining happens, right? So it doesn't actually really know to the dot what it is actually telling. So for example, if we are telling some 5 6 different questions, right? When it is giving the 3 paragraphs, when it is giving the first paragraph, it doesn't actually know what is in the second or third paragraph. Based on probability, it keeps generating, and then it provides it to you. So if any refinement is required or any tweaks or inputs are provided, then it will again do the entire thing. So this is very important to keep in mind, uh, because you are ultimately responsible for how for what output the generative AI is providing, be it a image or a email or a letter, or be it whatever it is, right? Yeah. Just a quick thing on machine learning. Machine learning basically gives the computer the ability to learn from the data without being explicitly programmed. That is what the important aspect over here is, without being explicitly programmed, right? It also improves the accuracy over time. So for example, the more data it is provided, the more patterns it learns, and it is able to actually provide insights better on the basis of past data that it has learned. So these algorithms are basically trained to find patterns, etc., in vast amount of data, right? So a lot of theory, but bear with me, because these concepts are important for the purpose of, let's say, finding fraud, and how exactly it can help in analytics. And as you know, audit is very vast, and already a lot of things people are already working on, right? When I told you about Excel and a lot of analytics, so people are already using technology. So how exactly can AI help it even better? That is what we have to understand. And that is where all these machine learning and natural language processing and computer vision and generative AI comes into picture, right? So if I can just quickly summarize this for you, where I'll just give you an example of where all these core concepts can be applied. For example, natural language processing, right? So you can use that in report review and summarization. For example, if you upload an agreement, and right, you can ask questions about an agreement, right? That is natural language processing. Okay, so your erstwhile, for example, how much time was spent in reading agreements, right? Whether now a lot of people like reading agreements, a lot of people don't like reading agreements, right? So if you can just raise your hands, how many people, or if you can just tell me who all like reading agreements, and they call it the fine print, right? Yeah. So some people do like reading agreements, some people don't like reading agreements, not because they don't like it, but there's a lot of text to be read, and sometimes it may be a bouncer as well, right? So AI helps in report review and summarization in this way, that let's say for example, if you're trying to benchmark two agreements, right? Whether some clause is there in this agreement which is not there in that agreement, or that agreement has a different rate than as compared to this agreement. Now that is where you get really good outputs from AI, because it is comparing both the things and you are just getting the last final output in a matter of seconds or minutes. Of course, you have to review a lot of these things by yourself as well, but what I'm trying to say is you can use AI in this way, right? Machine learning, as we spoke, you can use it in anomaly detection if there's a lot of data sets. So in the next segment, we're going to talk about a little bit about what we are already doing and what AI can help in. Basically, you have RPA, rule-based exceptions finding versus what machine learning can bring to the table. We spoke about computer vision as well. Now, if you probably took a lot of samples, right? And some samples, let's say, for example, you have asked for invoices from your client, and if they are computer generated invoices, nothing like that. Even in that, if you can, basically copy paste text from the particular invoices. So I hope you're able to correlate to what I'm saying. In some invoices, it will be a print, right? Like for example, if you press Control P, you cannot select text in that particular invoice. But then if it is a printout, of course it's a photo, right? So that's where computer vision comes into play. I'm just giving you an example of invoice, but it can be anything, right? It can be, let's say, if you're doing a stock count, and you want to just upload the stock counting sheets, right? um, just to summarize that and bring that into Excel, right? AI can now do that very, very easily, and imagine the amount of time that will save all of us, right? Yes, it was possible before also. Like I said, if you open, a lot of you might tell me that you can open it in Excel and you can record the data through a table in the photo. Yes, that is definitely possible. But to what extent it has improved with the help of AI is very important, right? Now, if that is not able to detect the characters properly, now you will get some text, in Excel, but it's gotten way better with computer vision. That's what I'm trying to tell. And this is just an example. Coming to generative AI, also basically you can use AI to draft and summarize. If you want to write letters, if you want to write emails, I personally use a lot of AI to write my emails. Of course, I don't hit send, which you should not as well. You need to read exactly what AI has written. Maybe the tone needs to be changed, or the wordings needs to be changed, or maybe in your office you don't write this way, or in your office you write a different way of, let's say, reports or letters, etc., right? So there is a concept of temperature in generative AI which you can keep in mind. Now, I told you about how uh, probability is very main thing in this generative AI, right? So if you reduce the temperature, so basically if you keep it zero point 0.2 or zero point 0.3, it will, so there is a concept of hallucination, right? You may have heard of this thing with everybody. Everybody has heard of hallucinations. Yeah. So hallucination is basically your AI confidently telling incorrect data, right? That's the thing. So AI doesn't know what is correct or what is incorrect, right? It is just giving you things based on probability. Now, if you set the temperature to a low temperature, it is going to give sure shot, or at least try to give very sure shot, mostly 100% or 90, or I don't know how much the percentage, but then most probably this is the most probable text which should come for this particular input, right? If you want to be creative, right, that is when you can increase the temperature. And then if, or let's put it the other way, if you increase the temperature, you'll get very creative answers which will basically not even probably it may not even be very near to whatever you have asked, right? So you need to keep all this in mind, and although I have tried to bring this all in one slide and probably four tables, you need to keep these things in mind when you're using things in your own offices for your day-to-day work, or how you will do things, right? So you mainly have natural language processing. Is as soon as you see text, you will need to think that AI can help me in using or summarizing or reading these things. And I will show you also in the next few segment that how exactly you can do that. Yeah, moving on. I think we already spoke about this evolution of audit and tax practice. So basically earlier we used to do a lot of paperwork, um, and then we used to do a lot of Excel analysis, and now we are in a age of continuous monitoring. So exceptions can be given, not just given, but can also be predicted when the next exception is going to happen. If I can just give you an example, basically, in one of the clients, basically what has happened is they are implementing prescriptive analysis in the field of repairs and maintenance, right? So yesterday people were basically so if I can just give you an example of where people are really have started using AI. This is one of the top companies as well in basically retail industry. They are using predictive analytics to tell where exactly a fraud or a theft or pilferage is going to happen, right? They have a lot of data, and people are monitoring it at the back end, but they have leveraged AI to basically do predictive analytics to tell where exactly in their store or in the areas of operation anomaly or exception is going to happen, right? So earlier, if you said that an exception or anomaly has come, it has already passed and you couldn't actually take any action upon it, other than putting in stronger controls to basically avoid it or something like that. But in this case, predictive analytics will tell you that it is going to happen over here. Now a lot of things can be done if somebody knows that something is going to happen in this particular area. So I hope this itself gives you a lot of background about how AI is being used. So this is not just theory, guys, right? So it's very important to understand how exactly we can use it, because it is there and it is upon us now to actually go ahead and start using it. We have to start small, and I will just tell you in the next things how exactly we can use that. So anybody has any doubts or questions in this, we can just quickly answer. So for this, there will be some sample data sets that I will be sharing with you on the group. You can please download that, and then uh, so this when we are doing the practical demo, and you can also do it along with us, that data will be required, right? So we're just going to get into a little bit more detail of what all we can do. Yeah. So this is one of the main differences of how AI is different from what we are actually doing, right? How it uh, so basically what we are doing as of now is rule-based automation, right? Um, a lot of our audit checklists or what works we are doing is repetitive, right? If there are logics pre-built, if this, then that, right? If let's say this is this, then if it is more than that, then it's an exception. So these rule-based automations are basically designed to follow predefined rules, right? Now, as soon as that particular rule doesn't apply or has to be modified slightly, of course, your computer or whatever you're using is not going to do that, right? That is where uh, let's say in your, for example, you're doing an audit, and then some logic is has to be slightly changed based on some background. Now some article or some staff has to come and change that logic and then check whatever other exceptions are there and then try to again go about it. So that is where AI has sort of taken it to the next level, right? So unlike rule based systems, AI can adapt to varying inputs and learn from experience. So can anybody tell me this with respect to which type of AI I'm talking about? Yeah, so this is basically learning patterns from the data, right? So basically now it goes, see, it's just smarter, right? It doesn't rely on rules, predefined rules, right? So it is finding patterns in the data, and that patterns will basically bring out the exceptions. So earlier you had to change the rule. Over here it is going to find some patterns and then it is going to give you the exceptions which are basically which can be given in whatever form or manner to provide the for us professionals to provide the output. Just a quick example into how rule based automation and AI is different. I actually gave you this example as well. See, for example, let's say this is an expense, right? We're talking about the first line item. This is an expense. So let's say we're talking about food and FBL, right? Food, beverages, lodging. Uh, Flag invoices above 5 lakhs. It is unlikely that there will be invoices above 5 lakhs when your travel TBL, your travel boarding and lodging, right? For a 3-4 day trip and any of the expenses that you're vouching for, right? So whether this is an actual expense or is it some fraud or somebody has just booked the expense, right? So we are trying to look at what we are trying to do in audit is basically trying to see whether there is any sort of fraud or incorrect expenses, duplicate expenses. They have tried to inflate the expenses or it is not of the company at all, etc. Right? There are a lot of aspects. I'm just giving you an example. Now, what we are doing is basically, first of all, we are trying to see whether if there is a materiality set, right? It normally will not go above 5 lakhs for let's say a week or a month or whatever you want to apply the rule. Where AI comes into picture and once you start using it, you will also be able to detect unusual invoice patterns even below 5 lakhs. I will try to give you an example. I don't know if how many people might relate. If, for example, somebody is fudging expense statements, right? It is possible to find some sort of a pattern in the way that they're doing it, right? Maybe in first week they may not have traveled but then they will add 10,000 and then in the next week also they will put some 9,500 and then the next week after that they'll put some 6,000. So this is well within the limit and it is harder to find, right? That is where you use AI to see what sort of patterns are there. Of course, you may not be able to detect these patterns with less amount of data. If you only analyze it with, let's say, 5-6 months of data of large data sets, and then you may be able to bring out this particular anomalies. So second one is if your field shows blank, uh, let's say some sort of compliance, right? Some PF or something like that. So if the field is blank, then show the error. But then what AI can do is, again, this needs a lot of data, and which is what we have right now, which was earlier not available. Now I spoke about the data explosion, right? So inconsistent reporting trends over time. So this particular unit in this company is consistently not paying remitting taxes on time, right? So let's say this is a payment field. So have they paid within so and so date? But then consistently, are they defaulting? That is very good insight that an auditor can provide to the management. Right now, this is something that they can action upon. Where some payment is not done, it becomes very transactional. But then if you are able to tell the client that consistently there's an exception happening in this particular area, that is very much more valuable than just a transactional error. Sorry, expense claim I already I already told, right? This is also one other good example that, see, I'm trying to give you small examples that you can relate to, so that there is no textbook that you can apply AI in this particular way alone. So you have to catch hold of the principles and then use it in your different day-to-day aspects, or whatever you can apply it in, right? That is, so you might hear about use cases, right? Use case is very vast because everyone can apply AI in their own different ways, right? So it's very important to understand where you can use AI, which is why I'm giving you different examples, very simple examples where you can use AI, right? For example, splitting of purchase orders, right? A lot of analysis, what we do is around basically the same week, within the same week, same day or same week, they've split purchase orders. For example, if 10 lakh is the limit, they have done 9 lakh and 2 lakhs. It's well within the limit, but then it's exceeding the limit. Again, if 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 there was analytics possible to see that splitting of purchase order is happening regularly, right? And then you can also think about continuous monitoring from this aspect. Continuously, if somebody is able to monitor this aspect, and some it is getting reported that this is a split purchase order, and or this can be a split purchase order, an approving authority can, if they get that information, they can just quickly see into that aspects, which would otherwise not come to their attention. If that is coming to their attention, that's great, because if in fact they need to intervene, that intervention is now possible, right? This otherwise somebody has to sit and do, and it becomes rule based, right? If within this week somebody is doing, then okay. But what if they have done over a month or something that beats your particular rule? Then again, it is difficult to catch those particular exceptions. um, Banking may already people have started using AI as fraud detection. For example, I don't know if you have gone through this. I can just give you a simple case of my own experience that suddenly. So basically, I try to pay tax of one of my client through my credit card, right? And that was a huge amount, which would normally, which in that aspect I would not spend through my credit card. So, although the payment goes through, you will get a call, right? You will get a call to confirm that whether you have really gone ahead and done this transaction or not. I don't know. Some of you might have also faced this. So that is where AI is being used a lot of places to detect frauds or unusual transactions, etc. Right? This last example I just added so that it becomes very relatable to all of you. You might have seen now that it is summer, and a lot of you might have seen AI in AC, air conditioning. Air conditioning also AI has come. Is it really AI or what? So, right. So basically, if it is rule based, now if let's say for example, if the temperature goes um, uh, below, let's say, 18 degrees, you set the temperature to 24 degrees. If it is rule based, then it's not really AI. But then if it is continuously, if it is checking and preferences are learnt, right? If your AC is capable of doing that, then yes, then that would be AI. Of course, this is not something that you can apply in audit. I'm just giving you an example. Yeah, so just a simple one line difference automation. If this happens, do that, then it is rule based. If it is learn from data, then decide what to do, then it is basically intelligence, artificial intelligence, which is being applied. So if you have any doubts in this, we can take it up. So quickly, to next two three things what we are going to see is basically what you can, how you can use AI in a couple of things, and then we're going to jump into how you can use AI in taxation. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. You might have already started picturing or visualizing how you can use AI in all your day-to-day um, work, what you are doing. If you're not, you try to already start picturizing or visualizing that, because you will be able to relate to it in the next two three things what I will show you. So I myself am from an internal audit process, in-depth process review area. So I work for a firm where they do only these aspects. So basically, we have already started using AI extensively in terms of um, in many aspects. So I can also, from a personal experience, explain a couple of things on how AI is already being used, and this may not necessarily be only for internal audit. It may be for any of the audit that you are doing. But keep, please keep in mind that data is very, very important. Confidentiality is very, very important. um, of course, when we go to the practical demonstration also, I will show you a couple of things, how these things can also be avoided. But then you, again, I will keep repeating this. You need to be very cautious about what you're using data, right? Because there's something called prompt injection, and if you're typing something into these large language modules, LLMs, somebody else can also pull that data, whatever you are doing. So think of it as a public thing, right? Would you be comfortable putting something, some confidential data into the public domain? No, right? You have to think of AI also in the same way. Although it looks like a chat box, right? And it'll just give you, it is a very public thing. And if you, it's as good as putting your putting client data or your confidential private data into a, let's say, a bulletin board. If you would not put it on a bulletin board where everybody can see it, please don't put it into your large language modules or any other AI that you will do, because it gets trained on that particular data, right? So anybody else also, if they ask the same thing, it will give them that answer, and then your confidentiality is gone for a toss, right? So quickly, sorry, quickly, these are the areas where AI can be used in your audits, be it planning, be it risk assessment, be it sample selection, be it duplicate detection, fraud detection, data analysis, field work, reporting, follow up, overall approach, right? This may be very, very theoretical, but I've tried to keep everything in one particular table so that, you know, it is very simple. If you want, you can take a photo of this as well. Uh, See, I will just explain to you very shortly on where all you can use AI in these aspects. For example, planning, right? Now, traditionally, your audits used to be on, okay, you will see how, what all past audits have happened, what all inputs have happened, right? But now what you can do is you can actually leverage already available data. Now, um, this is happening in my client as well, because now the next financial year is going to come. People are getting into what areas has to be audited in the next year, etc. So now that has gone to a next level, that you can use, let's say, financials, you can use your management commentary, you can use whatever else in the same industry other companies are doing, right? So slowly this becomes very, very big, right? Slowly it becomes a heavier thing to you know think about all the data, right? And then come to a decision, right? Imagine if AI was not there, right? Like there was no chat GPT or your Geminis of the world were not there. How would you do it, right? And then you'll have to take this report, this information, keep it all on your table, and then you read all these things and then you make notes. That has become, or that has been simplified. That work has been reduced for a chartered accountant, right? If I'm talking about just planning, let's say this can also come for your manpower planning, right? How many resource allocation, right? How many resource should I plan for this particular audit? Last time I had put 5 resources, this time the business has grown, so maybe I need to put an extra article, right? So that kind of, trust me, we have done this in a matter of clicks. We are able to, along with any other logic we want to provide, we have done this manpower resource allocation or what all areas has to be done. So please go and give it a try. Maybe if you want, you can, again, please keep in mind confidentiality, but go ahead and try doing this for something that you would have already done. Let's say, for example, last month resource allocation planning. Can you try and use AI to see how AI would have given you, right? So that's on planning. Risk assessment also, I will tell you, for example, high risk areas. Now, if you are looking at a financial statements, right, and you're trying to assess where all there are high risk areas. Now, last year you might have, or last quarter or last year you might have classified some particular area as a higher risk, and during that period you might have classified something else as a medium risk. But in the present situation, maybe that particular, let's say some other business has been taken up, right? Now because of that other business, the risk might have changed, right? Now how to identify all these things, what risk has basically changed, right? Manually also you can do, yes. For example, I gave you this aspect, so you are like, okay, because of this business model they have taken up a new business, so there is higher risk in this particular area. So X thing in the financial statement or X area in their business is considered a higher risk. Now if you are having a risk, if you are using AI for risk assessment, mind you, it is going to use all the basically what it has to be able to tell you what are risky areas. Now, of course, all these require inputs to be given to the AI as well, whatever you are knowing, but it will identify, and it can also provide a lot of high risk areas if you're talking about, so vendors, departments, trends, etc. So your risk assessment, you can also use AI. You're not supposed to just basically rely on what risk assessment AI is giving, but that will be another source for you to consider, right? To, if of course a lot of things what AI will give you, you also as a chartered accountant already know. It's not like that is giving something entirely new which you don't know at all, right? But if it is giving you something else in terms of a risk, it is very much worth looking into. That is how it has to be seen, right? So look at sample selection, right? Earlier we used to do some analytics, and then whatever samples are, whatever samples you think, you would have taken that. But then using AI, if it identifies some trend, right? If it identifies some sort of a pattern or a relationship between some data. You can take samples, of course, again, whatever samples you had provided, you had taken, some of the samples might also come in whatever AI is telling. But there may be chances that based on these things which are important to me, if you give the input, it may also give certain samples which is worth. If you look into what exactly the sample has been highlighted for selection by AI, if you look at that and if you think this is a better sample than let's say this sample, so why not use that, and it may give a little bit better exception or output for auditor. It goes without saying that using AI and using all these analytics, you will of course move away from all these sample selection. Right now, I can tell you that clients are very happy, or they have started asking also where why auditors are doing on sample testing, right? Why can't you do on 100% population? Because now data is available, analytics are possible. So all these things are now in the fray, right? So I'm just going to quickly run through a couple of other things. So duplicate detection, fraud detection, right? Data analytics. So just a quick thing here, spreadsheet based manual analysis, right? Now you have AI powered data analytics and dashboards, deeper insights in less time, right? So all these things are important so that you can use AI in these aspects. uh, we have written so many things here. How exactly you can do is a different thing. For example, we just spoke about analytics and dashboard, right? For analytics you can use Python, right? You can use Power BI for dashboards, right? You may tell I don't know Python, or I don't know how to use Power BI. That's where AI has gotten better, right? Now also when AI is there, you are not going to actually learn Python, or you are not going to learn Power BI, right? You are going to define what output is required, right? Now AI will basically write the code in my example what I gave you, Python, right? Python code will be written by AI. All these large language modules are very much capable of giving you the code what is required to run particular analytics, right? um, if you talk about dashboards, right? So I personally can tell you, yes, I have used Power BI, but if some error happens, or if something goes wrong and I hit a dead end, right? That's it. Like I'm not an expert, right? Yes, I know what is there in the data and what is audit, etc. What are all financial concepts, but I don't know how to run Power BI to a large expert level, right? So that is where AI has become my extra arms and brains, right? Now, if I don't know something, think of it as another staff or another person in your office who knows these things. So if in that particular example I tell you that if you don't know, you tell this person to do it for you, you're not going to learn it, right? You are going to just take the output for what that other person is giving. This has to be like that. Of course, it doesn't replace any persons as such. I'm just telling you that you are getting better along with this particular tool at your hand. So it has to be look like you have certain extra arrows in your queue. It's like that. So analytics, you can go ahead and use Python for doing a lot of analysis, which I can tell you is extremely fast, right? Now we spoke about large data sets, right? Weekly or monthly going into lakhs of line items. Excel, as you know, can't handle more than 10 lakh, 10 lakh 48 or 10 lakh rows. And if you are reaching 10 lakh rows, that means to say that your files are already very big. You apply a simple filter only, you apply 3 4 filters and subtotals, it will your laptop is going to heat up, right? So what's the answer, Akshay? You can, so that is where you're supposed to think like that. You're supposed to think that now I have big analytics available at my disposal, right? Big dashboards which I can prepare with some help, right? So now all these analysis is very much possible. So now you're going to move into, and I say this in my office as well, that you're going to move into a particular situation that earlier audit meant you doing all these analytics. Now you are already going to have that particular exceptions given to you. What will you do now along with that, right? So audit just gets better with all these uh, tools available to you, which are erstwhile you needed to do a lot of things. So things has gotten simplified in this manner. Field work also, a lot of verification earlier people used to do, so that also AI can help out by setting up couple of things. Transaction testing can be done. So I can give you an example of one of my peers in the CA field. They have gone ahead and using AI, they have set up um, set up things where IFC testing has become very much simplified, right? IFC testing, everybody knows, a statutory requirement. It has to be done. They have to report upon it whether they have done IFC, ICFR. So you know how tedious that activity is, right? People have to collect, people have to verify the data, then prepare testing attributes, templates, etc. Now people have started using AI, and you should also try it. People have started preparing, see, testing templates can be prepared based on whatever controls, etc. are available. Of course, it requires a lot of review and input from the chartered accountant or user. But once you have done that and you just give the data, right, it can analyze and then it can help you in the documentation. Now, which is going to save you a tremendous amount of time. Imagine if you have to see IRC testing, as you know, there will be 100, 200, 500 controls, right? Doing the testing is not the hard part. Doing the testing is okay. Preparing the documentation also is equally difficult. That is where, again, if you see text, you should think that AI can help me in this, right? So a lot of these transaction testing and then automated transaction testing, you can use AI to help you in that. Reporting, of course, I told you already, all these analytics is giving is uh, sorry, analytics, a lot of things are already, our exceptions are being provided to you. Now it's upon you as a chartered accountant, because reporting is, again, it is our responsibility, correct? I don't know if you know, but one of these top consulting firms, right? This became big news as well, that they had given a large report, and then AI was used in that, and in between one of the pages, there is some text that nobody is understanding, or it's not even related to the entire aspect of the report. So again, you need to keep in mind what exactly you are using to put in, what exactly AI you're using to put in the report, because end of the day, it is going to be your responsibility, and people are going to catch the user of the report or the issuer of the report, right? Yeah. So we'll just quickly get into it. So this AI and financial statement review also, we will just get into it into the practical demo as well. But let's say, for example, you are getting a new client, and or you're doing a new audit, and then financials are given to you, right? what all things you would have checked in that audit, right? Um, so this is some of these other things also are ICAI material, so please don't take photo or anything like that, but these are all copyrighted information. I've provided the source as well down. So basically, you can use AI in financial statement review. We already spoke about this in the risk assessment and a lot of other things as well. So we'll just quickly get into it also. So this is a sample prompt on how you can do, I mean, how you can use AI to do a lot of things that you would do otherwise, right? So for example, so in your other how to write a prompt also, you may know you need to give it a persona, and then you need to give it context, and then you need to give it background, sorry, context, background, you need to give it boundaries, you need to give it examples, what exactly data output you want, how exactly you want the format, right? So this is a sample prompt, and we will be taking this prompt as well. um, So in this, what it is telling is basically act as a chartered accountant with expertise in internal audit, direct. So we will get into this. So this particular prompt has to be copy pasted, and then if you put the financial statements, basically reliance into that particular prompt along with that prompt, it will give you all these particular things. We will see that in just a minute. Purchase register analysis. We already spoke about this a little bit, right? So for example, this is how we are currently doing audit, right? See, I'm telling we because I'm trying to have a uh, mixed including mixed audience, or including everybody. Of course, everyone, some of us might be intermediate level or expert level in us. Even me as a faculty here, see, a lot of things are being evolved, so I'm also learning, and every day it is a learning itself. So uh, we have to keep learning, right? New things are there, and you have to know how to use these things. That's when you are going to be up to date with uh, all the ways that you can use AI. So keep in mind, watch out for a lot of AI use cases in AI. How use cases are being published, or you can see ICAI websites as well, because there are a lot of use cases are presented or published by ICAI. So you have your AI CA committee, right? Which takes a lot of initiative by publishing AIs. There are AI use cases. There are also hackathons which are organized. I think the fourth hackathon got recently concluded. So uh, a lot of people are coming up and showcasing their use cases, and a lot of these use cases can improve the activities what is happening in maybe a traditional CA firm as well, and specialized CA firms. Basically, everybody is using this. So if you understand what AI can be used where, you can also go ahead and implement it. All right. You have to start small. If I can give you an example here, see, conditional formatting, right? Uh, an easiest conditional formatting maybe that you and I can think about is duplicates, right? Conditional formatting, highlight duplicates, right? So exact invoice number, if something was there, yes, you will catch that. Vendor wise invoice, something is there means you will be able to catch that using fuzzy lookup, all those things. If you are able to use it, it's pretty basic. Now people have also gotten smarter, right? Now if some duplicate invoices are being submitted by vendors against, let's say, an open purchase order or a blanket purchase order, whatever it is, people are not going to give the exact invoice numbers. This is going to have different problems in your GST if it is a registered and vendor, right? GST registered vendor. But then the point is that now in your analytics, generally these will not come up as exceptions, right? So if whenever your senior or somebody is asking you whether you have reviewed this particular purchase register, and then did you find cases of duplicate invoices, we are doing basic checks, and then we are able to tell that no, there are no checks, there are no duplicate invoices here. It may be correct, I'm not saying that it is not correct, but now there were also for example, you have intermediate level audit tools which are available, right? Power BI was there, where you can tell that consistently this vendor expense is going higher, right? That's when you get into it and see that invoice number is there, but then the service is not obtained, or the material is not received, or material is received is this much, but billed for is this much, right? Just giving you an example, that is when we understand that okay, there is some duplicate invoice provided by the vendor, but it is not straightforward, it cannot be actually caught by doing basic level analysis, right? Or even by using this idea or Tableau, etc., by visualization, or by doing any Benford law, we are able to get means, then okay. But then that's where advanced level, now this is where machine learning has come into the picture, right? So pattern based anomaly detection, every time if you are able to correlate something with some other data, and I told you what some of the tools, right? The Python, if you are able to again use vibe coding, and I mean do vibe coding, and then um, go for go ahead and using Python, then you'll be able to catch some of these pattern based anomaly detection, Azure AI, and uh, Amazon AWS machine learning, or some of these tools which are available. Of course, there's a lot of tools available, and this using machine learning itself is a different topic altogether. But you need to now understand that, or we need to now understand and um, think that all these are not tomorrow, all these are not the future, all these are happening right now. All these have already happened in the last couple of years without us knowing, right? That is the most important thing. So big data continuous monitoring also I have explained, right? So for example, if you look at this as a compliance dashboard, okay, now this compliance, if you are able to tell that some compliance has happened and something has not happened, again you'll be able to tell okay, this is where exceptional reporting can come in, and then you can tell that okay, this particular area requires intervention, in terms of, because so many compliances are there, automating it, tracking that, the data for that is all a important thing to consider. And this is where again, see, for example, now I think you're able to understand what patterns I'm telling. So if consistently in some area somebody is getting into an NC, right? Now it's not just information, it is insight that this department is doing like this. So this requires continuous monitor, whether some there is some problem there that erstwhile it was not getting addressed, and now because exceptions and this sort of an insight is coming to the management, or auditors are able to point it out, yes, some action is possible to be taken upon that. This again, I just told you. So, for example, this is what we are doing. Then move to continuous dashboard, connect ERP data, dashboards, etc. So, if you want, you can take a picture of this. This is how we can move towards AI and then use this in audit. Okay. The first two, three things are what we are already using: pivot tables, duplicates, etc. And then if you connect to make some Power BI dashboards, etc., use, so Power BI runs on something called DAX. So a lot of you might know this. So people who don't know this, the backend code for Power BI is called DAX, right? So all these large language LLMs are able to give you DAX code, right? So if you are able to, of course, if you try to just do set up some dashboards, it will You can use LLMs to tell you exactly how to set up dashboards. If you just tell this is how I want, it will tell you go ahead, do this, do that, do this, do that, do it in a certain way, click this, click that. So it will basically handhold you. And you can also talk to it like it's a different person. No, I'm not able to understand this. Talk to me like I'm 5 years old, right? Um, I am just now, I'm a chartered accountant, so I understand the data, but I don't understand this, what you have told. So if you give like these inputs, now you will be able to use AI for building dashboards. Okay. So these are pattern anomaly detection already we spoke about. Yeah. Just take a small break here for 2 minutes. Any questions are there? We can talk. It's going to get into practical now. So one of the common questions will be which AI to large language models to use. Okay. So there's no clear answer to that. Each model is good at different things. So there is something called ranking. So all these AI ranking websites which are there, which you can refer, and accordingly, based on what kind of what things you want to use it for, you can accordingly do it like that. So if I can just tell you, this Claude is now getting into a lot of different co-working basically features are available which can do multiple tasks at the same time. So now that is ahead in the race. But then Gemini is releasing Nano Banana 2, which is, I mean, Nano Banana is compared to, so Nano Banana is basically your image generation tool, right? So earlier you had DALI, and then that became that was ahead. Now there's Nano Banana, which is good. So a lot of things, everything is good. You can just which exactly tool you want to go ahead and use, so that you can research about, and then you start using the tool. So what I can tell you now is that coming to the topic in hand, this ICAI also has been working on a lot of or rather this has already been published some time back. ICAI has so there are something called custom GPTs. So GPT full form, generative pre-trained transformer, right? So you can also give it certain data, and then you can train the GPT to give you based on whatever data it has been trained on, right? So that way we will just log into this quickly. Basically, ICAI has prepared custom GPTs for all the different aspects of the CA field, what CAs can use. And then there's also something called industry forum custom GPTs. Basically, this is based on different financials and management commentary. It has been prepared. So these things are something that you can use if you're a chartered accountant member or a student. This is basically a OTP based login thing. So if you have access, you can use these GPTs for, say for example, if you're in automobile industry, right? If your client is in an automobile industry, what all uh, background is required. Of course, otherwise also the GPT has web knowledge, web search features. But then if the benefit is here is that it has, if you give it certain domain knowledge, it will, the chance of hallucination is reduced, or rather the output which you get is really good. So that is how you need to use these particular custom GPTs what CA Institute is giving us. So we will just show you that in just some time as well. AI in tax compliance. We spoke about a lot in AI in audit, how you can use AI in taxation. Now, like I told you, if you, we spoke about agreements. Hello. So there is agreements. Now, I also told you, or we spoke about, we discussed that as soon as you see words, you need to know that natural language processing is available at my that natural language processing tool is available at your disposal. So as we know, tax is a lot of words and language, right? um, there's also a lot of repetitive actions which is required, or repetitive actions, repetitive activities which needs to be performed. So again, if it is rule based, earlier things were rule based, so you can now try to visualize where AI can help and AI can go beyond rule based automation. Okay. Next thing is on continuous tax compliance monitoring. This we already spoke about in the previous section where compliance monitoring was done, was spoken about. So here, if you are able to tell all these things are not helping out, so that gives you better insights, and then all these things are not working accurately or properly. It will give you good insights into what you can highlight to your client, or if you are in the tax basically taxation team of the client, then you can also use this to your benefit. Litigation and notice management, again, it is you can use a lot of generative AI, right, to basically service your clients. So I'll just spend 10-15 minutes on 5-10 minutes on this tax research and interpretation, right? Now, earlier, also you need to be very careful, very, very, very careful with all these friends, because what happens is, again, there's a high risk of hallucination. For example, if you ask it some case laws, na, it will quote some case laws which is not even there. This has happened so many times, right? So you need to be cautious. You need to keep that in mind. Uh, Please review whatever output is being provided by the generative AI. Okay, so quickly I'll run through these traditional methods of manually reading the sections, circular case laws. Yes, this will still be there. This will not go away. However, you can use AI to summarize relevant sections and recent circulars which have come in, or recent rules which are in place. You can also set up something to tell you that in these particular set up certain sources, and then tell that these new rules are in place which has to be implemented in the client. So basically, there's faster research possible. Multiple website searching also you can, this will still happen, but then what will happen is it will consolidate and it will summarize and it will present, right? That is now possible, which is going to save a lot of time. Mind you, this for example, um, people, I mean your clients also may start using all these. So now if this is available to you, it's available to them as well, right? So that is where domain knowledge is going to take up a lot of relevance, because everybody knows, okay, what it needs to be, what compliance has to be done, or what the law is saying, etc. So this is where chartered accountants are going to have a better role, I mean have a are able to provide better things to the clients, in terms of saying that yes, all the other clients are following this is the industry best practice, etc. So that becomes a good amount of value add for the client, and a lot of work and efficiency and productivity also will be seen in your teams, or in your office, or in the thing, by using AI for these tax research and interpretations. There can be a lot of interpretational. So AI can also give you certain uh, interpretation which is possible by reading the facts of the case and by analyzing it. Of course, like I said, it doesn't understand any of this. It all um, at a high level runs based on probability. So you need to keep that in mind and accordingly use different AIs. You have generative AI, you have natural language processing, you have your machine learning, and then you have your what is that, computer vision, right? So if you are able to upload certain uh, notices which you got into large confidential data not to be uploaded, but you can use these tools in that way. Return preparation and data validation, right? So you can use it to extract information from the financials and then like speed up your return preparation, data validation, right? So again, we spoke about duplicate invoices, your uh, basically your 2B, you can validate that as well. You can use it to see ITC eligibility, ineligibility, right? So we are in a better position to analyze whether some credits are to be disallowed or something has to be some call has to be taken by the CA to tell that this may in what is happening now is that the department is in these cases allowing ITC, but in some cases some notices are being sent out. So all this becomes very easy, or rather, there is efficiency or and productivity which is increased in this particular area. Litigation, notice management, replying, drafting replies also, it helps a lot in that. I think we will also see it in the next section. So quickly in the practical session, we're almost nearing the end of the session. So I think all of you can also open. So we're going to look at uh, CA GPT. We will just use CA GPT. I will also show you how exactly you can use CA GPT, right? And then we will see some cases where drafting assistance is done. And I will also show you one tool called NotebookLM, which is very helpful for research if you want to do, or if you want to. There are some features of NotebookLM. So these are some immediate tools that you can definitely start using. So yeah, we'll just get into the live demo. So couple of things what you need for the live demo. Everybody please use ChatGPT. Um, you need to have different 2 3 Gmail IDs like already the institute has told you, right? Also, if your network is getting slow, etc., it would help if you are able to use your personal mobile hotspot, right? Because s- uh, if all of us are accessing ChatGPT or other things, your network gets blocked. There are possibilities of that as well. So I have shared the data sets with you in WhatsApp. I hope you're able to download that. Excuse me. So once you are able to get into ChatGPT, you can log in. So I was telling you about ChatGPT, right? So this is one of the important thing to note in ChatGPT is there are different versions. I'm sure you know all of that. Just quickly, I will tell you because I'm also using the business version of ChatGPT. Yeah. So I think free versions are available. You can do more. All these are available, right? So if you see over here, if you come to business, right? In business, there is something called um, yeah. So this one, a secure dedicated with SAML, SSO, and multi-factor authentication, right? And you have your support for compliance with GDPR, etc. This is the most important thing. Encryption at rest and no training on your business data by default. So there is option of basically um, uh, the large language module not getting trained on your data. To so to some extent, this is this can be used to use some confidential data, but again, uh, there's no trusting what once you put some information into public domain, so you can work accordingly. But ChatGPT is telling that in the business version, wherever you're paying it, where you're paying for it, so there are some additions. Of course, this is available in the other um, Gemini and other things also. That in some plans the model is not getting trained based on your data. So we are using that as of now. So if you can see that, you will you have a lot of multi-factor authentication, and some of the cons of the LLMs are being addressed, right? So quickly we'll just get into that CA GPT, right? So basically your CA GPTs are available in AI CA AI committee website, right? Sorry, AI in ICAI. So quickly, if you are able to go to this AI.ICAI and then click CA GPT, right? So if you're a member or a student, you can go ahead and log in. So I will tell you how it works. So if you can just get an OTP. So I hope everybody are able to find this AICA, and you're able to find this CA GPT. Yeah. So see, so you are able to use the CA GPT list. Okay, there's Accounting Standards Board, Acts, Auditing and Assurance Board, Internal Audit Standards Board. So all your publications are available at your disposal using these GPTs. So if there is something that you need to use this for, you can go ahead and use it. GST, insolvency, peer review, e-journal, there's financial markets, right? This is how it looks like. I hope everybody is able to find this. Let me know if you're not able to find it. So you have your new income tax bill. So if you have any clarification that you're not able to understand something, or you need to use, you need to say what changes are required in your client based on the new bill. You have your DPDP Act. So these are also something that is available to you. You have your UAE VAT GPT, UAE corporate tax available. So these are all the GPTs that you can immediately go ahead and start using, right? As I said, CA, I mean, Chat GPT also you can use, but CA GPT now that a lot of domain knowledge has been included while training these particular GPTs, right? So it is going to give you a much better output, right? So you can also use these um, in your day-to-day work to get better output. So the second thing what we spoke about in our CAGPT was the industry forum. Now this industry forum is basically your industry specific domain knowledge which is available at our disposal. So for example, if you want a retail sector, right? Retail sector is available, or if you want manufacturing, manufacturing is available, right? So there are a lot of, see, logistics is available. Okay, so in your client, so whichever shipbuilding is available, so there is a lot of industries what is available. You can go ahead and manufacturing may not be available because there will be a sub industry also. Manufacturing of textile means textile will be available, right? So you have textiles. So this way you can go ahead and uh, utilize the domain knowledge what ICAI has basically made available to you guys. So I have already used retail industry AI, uh, say GPT. So how to use it is basically you find the GPT what you need, and then you click that, it will take you to a chat GPT, and then you can use it. So I hope everybody are able to come here. So you can now try to, what can you do? See it. Did you see that one line which came searching my knowledge? So there is a lot of data that this GPT has been given. So accordingly, it is able to read all those and then able to give you analysis. So financial statement analysis, I can break down revenue growth, growth margins, etc. Right? Industry and competitive positioning, etc. Like this, right? So what we will do is we will download, for example, Aditya Birla Fashion. So you guys can go ahead and do this along with me. Go ahead and find the financials, download it. Meanwhile, I will also give you the prompt. So I'm just giving you one case of how computer vision is working. So our report is getting downloaded. So it can do a lot of things. So you guys can also read about it. You can explore a little bit whether growth is sustainable, margins are structural, right? Investment, retail specific insights. So if you're taking, for example, automobile, it will give you the similar things for automobile, right? See, same store, sales logic. revenue per store, brand positioning. Let's just try one more. Okay, so let's say automobile, right? So what we will do is we will upload that, right? And then put this particular prompt. I'm just copy pasting this. You can take it in chat as well. See, what we are telling is act as a chartered accountant with an expertise in internal audit, direct tax, and indirect tax, right? So you're telling it what exactly you want it to act as. You are tasked with analyzing the Aditya Birla Fashion Retail Fashion and Retail Limited integrated annual report of 24-25. Correct? Assist in internal audit planning for 25-26. See, we spoke about planning, no? This is coming in here. The focus is on understanding company's health, etc., etc. Please carry out the following task. All these things are there. List out potential areas, etc. based on the thing. Bullet deliverable as Excel plus PDF. Provide analytics, etc. So once you hit enter, it's going to read this. It's going to see searching my knowledge. So it's going to leverage whatever is available, right? And then it's going to give you in the format that you asked. So what all we had asked, we had seen read and interpret, extract key financial ratios. Key financial extracts are available, revenue, right? All these things are there. What is my operating cash flow to total income, right? Solvency ratios, profitability ratios, how much is my EBITDA negative net. So where exactly, so you can ask follow-up questions. Where exactly is my EBITDA going into negative, right? Efficiency ratios are there. You can ask it some things like that, right? Sampling strategy, revenue, top 60, random revenue. So these are not, see, now with all these things, you can actually go ahead and start using it in audit, right? Top 20 vendor payments, lease contracts, all new stores for 24-25. So I asked it something, your EBITDA is going at the operating level itself, even before finance cost and tax. So it's not basically your finance cost and tax which is eating up into the profits, right? Operating only is low. Cost of materials, etc., etc., etc. Right? So it's going after depreciation it's going into a negative. So I'm just give you an example. All these things you can probably have a look at. So any doubts here, guys? So we saw CA GPT, right? Now we will just have a look at drafting assistance. So what we will do is we will take the direct tax GPT, okay, and then I have, so there is a um, income tax notice which I am giving you in WhatsApp. So you can just kindly open that. Right. So this is an ICAI TT CA GPT. Right. In this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload the income tax notice. Read this notice for me. See, leave you. Notice is issued under the. So earlier, what you would read and summarize for yourself. Now you will start with this particular aspect. Now you will put this, and then probably you can ask your staff or whoever it is to just give you the summary also along with the notice, right? So that you can start using, so that you don't start from scratch. See, what are the reasons mentioned for reopening? Unreported rental income, undisclosed bank interest, unaccounted business receipts, legal consequences mentioned if you fail to respond. What this means practically: filing a return, seeking a copy, immediate action required, review books, verify rental income disclosure. See, if you would like, I can guide you on the procedural validity strategy for response, whether reopening legally sustainable, drafting a professional reply. So what you can do is basically you can take its help for doing all this. Yes, help me on strategy for response, whether reopening legally sustainable, drafting a professional reply. So check the procedural validity. It will give you a lot of these things. Prior notice. So all these things you can check along with your actual client information, right? Reasons recorded as per the. See this, for example, will give you some case laws also. You need to verify that actually. Okay. Then let us analyze time limit. So it will tell you this is the strongest possible defense. Opportunity was not given, no speaking order was passed. So procedurally defective. Now you will start with this when you are reading that particular notice. See, now professional draft reply also has been provided to you. Correct? So you can start along with this. Your work is already reduced. Correct? To the DCIT section pan. Respected sir. See, if this much has already been given to you, you're I'm sure you're going to be so much more productive and efficient. Correct? Yes, yes, he respects. See, of course, if this much is given, you don't need to start from scratch. Like I said, you can go ahead and add whatever things you want to add or whatever language changes you need to make, etc. Correct? Yeah. Moving on. So you can also go ahead and open NotebookLM, right? What happened? This is not opening. Yeah. So you go ahead and open NotebookLM. Okay. Try NotebookLM. Then what happens is basically, see, this is a research tool. Okay. NotebookLM is basically a research tool, your research and thinking partner. Okay. It is based on the latest Gemini models. So what you need to do is you need to upload your sources, right? It supports a lot of sources like your PDFs, YouTube videos, audio files, etc. Unfortunately, you can't put your Excel file, so you probably need to have a workaround for that. Maybe make it, let's say, PDF or something like that. So instance insights, right? It becomes your um, AI expert. See the source, not just the answer. So it will also be able to tell you which source exactly you're able to get this answer from. Or if, for example, see, it's basically telling I got it from the first source or I got it from the third source. What you can also do is you can basically select to get answers only from this particular source. So go ahead and open this, guys. It can also give you a audio overview. You can make it like a podcast, etc. Right? See how people are using. So you can go ahead, guys. This can also be used for students also. If you are in CA, studying CA, right? So for organizing your thinking, it has something called a mind map, right? So all your last minute revisions, etc. I'm not telling you to use this, but then you can basically, I mean, for studies, I'm saying, but go ahead and use this where you're not able to basically complete or you're not able to understand in depth or something like that. You can always go ahead and use this as well. Of course, this you can use it at your workplace as well. So see, this is the most important thing. This notebook LM doesn't train, your organization data is not used to train LM. So this is where to some extent there is, and this is not a, this is again, as of now, it is free, right? So this is again, some comfort that model training will not happen, which means to say that your data, if somebody else, for example, I search the same data that you are giving to the LLM, I will not be able to get it, right? You can just go ahead and read all these things. So this is how your notebook LM will look like. So see, this is my personal experience, what I'm telling you. So these are the ways in which I am actually using. And one such, so you need to go ahead and create a new notebook, right? You can have up to so many notebooks. I think about 20 or 50 notebooks in the free version. So let me just quickly tell you how I have used one of the cases, right? This I had prepared last week only. See some of the sources what are available now. I have put some YouTube videos, I have put some PDFs, right? I have put some recordings, right? So this was an actual session, guys, based on which I was able to also add in some other information. So it's coming largely from a lot of these things. So what I have done is I have asked the uh, sources what are the top 10 concepts that were discussed, right? These were all the discussed concepts. Now I can also ask which area should I focus on for audit in the next year, right? It will give you some things. So some of the other things what is good is, see, you can make some audio podcasts based on that. You can make some slide decks, right? Based on, you can make some explainer videos presented to you by AI. Mind map is what I spoke to you about, right? You can base some reports, flashcards, quiz, infographics. Infographics is really good. You can try that as well. Data table. So you will just, if you just click it, it will come here. So I have already, I have I have used this. So we had an in-house training session which was conducted, and what we did is basically we made a quiz out of it. And then what I did was basically I put it on Slido, right? If you want, you can go ahead and see. This is how I have done it. Nothing. I didn't use my brain too much because I didn't have a lot of bandwidth that time. So what I did was I just made a quiz out of this, right? Out of, see, I have just used two sources. This is what I was telling you. So if you don't want to use all the sources, right? You can use only some sources. Basically, I have taken only this two recordings based on which I have done the quiz. So basically, you make a questionnaire out of it and then you put it into uh, I'm just showing you this tool. You can use any other tool, but this is how you can do it basically. See, it looks like this. 10 on 10. Done. See if you got this. Retake the quiz. So this is according to the right. So once you answer, it gives you this is the right answer. This is why it's the right answer. Why what you selected is the wrong answer, etc. So it's quite nice. You can explore it. Fortunately, this infographic is taking a lot. So this is what the video what was made. If it comes soon, I will present. Yes, see.
Have you ever wondered why that one shirt you were obsessed with sold out in like a day, while another one just sits on
Yeah. So basically, it just gives you something,
too fast?
right? So you can go ahead and use this.
There is the key piece of data you're going to use to forecast.
So this is one of the good things, right? Yeah. Again, coming back. One minute, I'm having some technical problem. Yeah. Hmm. I think we have spoken about all this a lot, so we'll just quickly go into it. This is one of the examples which people need to know is that actually um, how important this confidentiality is. What has happened is this one of the person who is working at Samsung, they have uploaded their some core chip related or some proprietary information into ChatGPT, right? So this has actually been um, extracted by somebody else, and based on that information, ChatGPT was able to provide this provide good information which was earlier proprietary. So using that proprietary information, now anybody not having that proprietary information just had to ask ChatGPT and find out, right? So this is what we are talking about, that you need to be very safe with whatever you're using it, right? So what are the mitigation strategies? Basically, input validation, output filtering, access control, and training awareness. Very standard, but please see whatever you're inputting, whether that is okay to be, um, you know, used in ChatGPT. How exactly you're filtering out the output, what exactly to use, what not to use. That becomes very important. Access controls, like I showed you in the business versions, right? Um, who all in the organization are having access to what all information, right? That also is important. Can you restrict access to some of the individuals? That is important. Training and awareness, it goes without saying, right? So these are some of the risks which are there by of using large language module, module applications models. This prompt injection, I think you might have seen it yesterday in basically how exactly you can uh, asking the question repeatedly in different ways. It is possible to get information about something which is confidential, or like for example some guardrails also are in place. So it's not always perfect. That is what has to be understood. Sensitive information disclosure, supply chain vulnerability. So this also affects organizations largely, and that is why you might have also heard Mr. Mukesh Ambani saying that India cannot afford to rent intelligence, right? Because of this particular aspect only, supply chain vulnerability. So if you're using AI and you're able to um, leverage things, but then that model is not from your own country and you have to depend on somebody else. I'm just saying that there are third party risks involved where um, it's not in under your control after point, right? Data and model poisoning. It's basically garbage in, garbage out. That is the funda here. But if your core data is, let's say, it's poisoned and it is not correct data which is put in, so whatever it is trained on, it's going to give you based on that only, because we understood it is largely based on probability based things. So other things also are there. So some key don'ts of the AI implementation: don't rely solely on AI, right? It has to be along with you. Don't expect perfection, right? It will give you something for you to not start from scratch, but if you expect perfection from it, it's not going to work, right? Don't ignore ethical considerations. Yes, definitely. Don't neglect data privacy and security. As of now, if you also know that data protection, personal data protection bill also has come, I mean, act has come, digital protection of data. Don't overlook the human factor. Don't assume AI is a silver bullet. By silver bullet, we mean to say, or I mean to say that what AI is telling is not always correct, right? If you think that it will confidently tell you, but then it will not always be correct, right? So don't ignore the need for continuous monitoring as well. Auditing AI. So next, what is going to happen is people are also going to have to audit AI, right? So risks in AI is basically people are implementing it even where they just want to ride the wave, and then there's no actual business case, but then people are applying it in people are applying AI, right? Traditional tools also are good, right? Wherever you need actual AI implemented to be used, uh, you can use it there only to stay away from all the cons also of what is there of using AI. Selection of inappropriate AI models, right? Accuracy of the outcomes is problematic. Errors also are there. Inaccurate, unauthentic training data. This is the most important thing of bias, right? Bias in outcomes resulting from AI models, unethical AI, etc. So all these things are there. So the best thing is human in the loop governance, right? Is if the person is there and they are reviewing it, that is the most important requirement. Upholding ethical standards is crucial for using that public, since it's a public tool and database, etc. So just quickly we will go through. Basically, we spoke about why AI is required in audit and taxation, right? There's data explosion, etc. Right? Core concepts are there. Descriptive analytics, what happened, why it happened, what may happen, what should be done. AI suggesting actions, core concepts, types of AI, ML, NLP, computer vision, generative AI, etc. Automation, what is rule based, what is patterns, and then learning from the data and then deciding, right? where all you can use AI, and what are we saw some practical tools as well. This has to be explored by each and every one of us, because there are a lot of use case coming up, and your there what exactly and how exactly to use AI in your particular settings, what use cases are there, that is also important. So that's it. Thank you everyone, and open for any questions. Yeah, thank you.